All right, hello and welcome to our live stream here. Let's see, we're going to be doing this painting here. Let's go add the stream. We'll be setting up here. Boom, bada boom, bada boom, boom, boom. Let's see. What else should I put? Still setting up my stream right now. All right. That's a great one. Okay, cool. Let's go back. You're all doing fantastic. We're just enjoying my unhealthy obsession with painting today as we get our live stream set up here real quick. Hope you're all doing fantastic today. It's going to be a moment, just a moment or two. I'm going to put just for viewers, I'm going to put a free trial membership to Amazon Prime. Or I mean, not Amazon Prime, excuse me, to Amazon Audible. Putting up a free 1 near-term membership to Amazon Audible. Vertical, we're going to go vertical, save, vertical phone camera, let's go like this. Can you get Lovebug wants some advice? What's up, Lovebug? What kind of advice? Advice on what? What advice would you like to have? All right. I would be happy to give advice if I have the answers. You know, it might come as a surprise to some people, but I don't always have answers. A lot of times, it's a question that I try to figure out myself, you know? So here we go. We're going live here. So Lil Bro Forever, what's up? Lovebug. How do you tell your girlfriend's parents that you're dating? She's 17 and you're 35. Well, hey, you know what? I can't really help you there. That's not a area where I really give advice. So, you know, if you're being serious or whatever, I can't really help you there. And it doesn't sound like a situation that I would ever get into. So you need to, you know, you probably shouldn't post that stuff online. First of all, that's advice I can give. Actually, that's stuff that you shouldn't share online, even if you are a troll, right? Like even if you're an anonymous troll, like I hope the government, you know, when you talk about this types of stuff, maybe you should, government, you know, we always talk about internet anonymity, but then when people share things that are questionable, they should be trackable. But anyway, you know, you do have an opportunity to delete your comments and your posts, but what I said will be forever here. So, you know, I'll just leave it at that. You should, you know, you don't want to one day someone find out that you joke about this type of stuff. So, anyway, all right. Well, hey, you know what? I don't know where that all is, but anyway, Here we go. Here we go. No more trolling, people. This is an art stream. We're doing art live streaming, so no more. If you have a troll question about painting, you can do that. I mean, that's totally open. But if you want, weird dating advice, that's not really what we're here for. Speaking of which, if you like cats, here's my cat over here. It's a nice little black cat. Scout, say hello. Say hello, Scout. Say hello to everybody. Yes. Yes, Scout. Good boy. Good boy. Say hello to everybody. So let's get set up here. A love bug wants me to paint a tree. Oof, that just is not going to happen today. So if that, if that's a deal breaker for you, then all I can say is, you know what, I'll see you next time, or maybe never. We're going to be painting a portrait of a friend of mine. So that's what we're painting today. And, some of the things, so I'm using a U.S. Art Supply canvas right now. And what's amazing about this easel that I have, so I have this easel, it goes up to about 34 inches. So this is a size 24-inch canvas. 24 by 18 by 24, so it's a rectangular canvas, and it goes vertical or horizontal, however you want to set it. But what's beautiful about this easel that it's on is I can set my palette. This is a sealable palette. Here, let me pop this open. But it's a sealable palette. I can set my palette right on top, so I have this workspace. There's this image of the artist, that the artist is supposed to paint like, holding their palette in their hand, right? The traditional artists, they have the palette and they're holding it in their hand and they're brushing and they're using it. But honestly, I have this set right on top of my easel here, on top of my easel, and it's set right down here. And then I have all of my paint supplies on this one easel, and it's absolutely amazing. I love this easel, especially great if you're either starting as an artist, or if you've got just a minimal amount of space, like, say you live in New York or you live in California or Los Angeles, and, rent is really, really, really expensive. So you have to manage your space efficiently. And basically, this pretty much takes up, like, I can store pretty much all my paint supplies, my brushes, my cleaning supplies, lots of paint and brushes within like this one space right here, which is about like 4 feet, three and a half feet by like 2 feet wide. And it's just an amazing space. This one easel right here stores so much. But yeah, we're gonna be starting this painting now, but I had to open my supplies and set this down, bring this down, just so it doesn't like wobble around. So what this helps it does is you're not wobbling around. I have all my paint supplies back here. I have this set up in the back, some oil, my paint brushes, and I pretty much work standing up, by the way. Do I have a website? Do I know a website you can order one? So WOF Fan for Life. Yes, if you want to order if you'd like to order, you can go into the description of this. Go to my website. That's huzzahcreative.com. And you can, if you'd like, I'm doing multi-stream now, but if you like, you can order from the painting specifically. You can get prints. And the prints that I usually offer are usually canvas prints. So they're printed on a canvas that you can actually hang. So anyways, let's get started here. Let's see, what should I start with? I'm trying to figure this out. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with, let's start with a nice red. Let's start with our burnt sienna here. Let's grab some of our burnt sienna and grab our red. We're gonna do a nice red underpainting here. I'm just gonna lay this red down, just real loosely. We're gonna paint over it here. Let's see. I'm gonna add these colors as well. Let's grab our red, that color. Let's grab the rest of our white, or yellow ochre if we can, whatever. And we're just gonna let these colors blend onto the canvas. So here we go. Oh, watch out, Fern. I need a zoom tight. So I have this like recipe that I spray so my cats don't come around when I'm painting. I have to spray like a vinegar citrus scent around, because otherwise they come up in my paintings. And you want to keep your cats as much as you can away from any form of oil paints. And you know what? Vinegar is good for cleaning, so it's a good cleaning solution that I use. Now let me find a good brush here. So right now I just need to spread the oil. So this is a Royal Langnickel, Royal and Langnickel, WOF. Says you met the canvas. You'll check that out on the canvas. So this canvas is U.S. Art Supply. You get this canvas on Amazon. So you get this canvas on Amazon, U.S. Art Supply. Pretty great practice canvas and professional canvas. You're watching this on a Speak Up. Connie, what's up? How are you, Connie? So all I'm doing right now is basically just establishing some color here onto our canvas. Let me move this back a little bit. It seems to be a little bit too close. Okay. So let me see. I might need a little bit more of this burnt sienna color. I'm going to throw burnt sienna here. We're going to throw down some burnt sienna right onto the canvas. Burnt sienna, a lot of burnt sienna. So burnt sienna is like a red brown. It's great for like, you know, the beginning of a painting when you want to establish some color areas. So burnt sienna, it's like a red brown, an orange, a really dark orange, you might even call it. And then I'm going to throw down some yellow ochre. And this is a Gamblin 1980 yellow ochre. And we're just going to lay this down. Just nice and easy. All I want is enough paint to be able to spread real quickly. And by the way, this isn't how you should do it, right? You should mix it on your palette and then, you know, add some mineral spirits and make it nice and wet. But I pretty much just like to just have the paint ready on the canvas and just let loose. I like my canvases, if I'm doing a lot at one time, like I really like to just let my canvases be free. Be free as in just letting the paint just enjoy the surface here. So letting the paint loose onto the surface, right? No point in wasting paint. Paint is never wasted on a canvas, but it can be wasted if you just let it go in the garbage. So here we go. WOF. What? WOF. What are you apologizing for, WOF? I don't even... Did you do something? If you did something, let me know, so I can be prepared. By the way, wherever you're watching from, whether it be Amazon or wherever, I do stream on a few different platforms, so, and I talk to myself a lot. So depending on where you're watching, you may think it's unusual. Not all of this is instructional, but you know, I just recently discovered Amazon live streaming, and you know, I'm probably one of Amazon's in my category of income. I would say I'm probably one of Amazon's top customers, because you know, I feel like Amazon's like teleportation almost. Amazon's like one step away from teleportation, because I could order something and it's like here. I pretty much get it within a couple of hours. That's how amazing Amazon's logistics system is. Like, at some point you don't even need teleportation, right? You don't even need teleportation, instant product delivery. You just need it to be there within a couple hours. And Amazon has totally delivered on so much for me. So, yeah. Anyway, love Amazon. Hence why I have chosen to accept their invite to be a streamer on their platform. And by the way, this is not an abstract painting I'm doing. It just, you know, that's just in the direction where we are right now. And the way, by the way, the way I'm working with this paint, in case you're wondering, I'm using something called mineral spirits. And when you're painting with oil, just in case you're wondering, if you're painting with oil, you need either oil, which oil can be pretty dense and thick, or you want mineral spirits, which helps to loosen up the paint. Oil can help loosen up paint too, because if you like put down oil paint for the first time, you'll see that it is, you know, it has a texture. It's not quite like butter. It's a little bit denser than butter. And what you'll find with that is that it can be hard to work with if you're trying to use it for this purpose, which is basically just staining your canvas for the initial like painting. And not every artist does it this way. A lot of artists, you know, definitely don't do it this way. But a lot of artists don't do it this way. They'll probably be a little bit more, they'll create a concoction of some sort, a concoction of paint in order to make it work and spread really nice and easy. Or they might even spray down the whole canvas with mineral spirit. They'll spray it down so that, you know, it comes off nice and so that they can just spread the paint nice and easy across the whole thing. That's another way to make this easier. But I tend to just dip my oil paint, my brush, in a good amount of mineral spirits. The mineral spirits helps to thin the paint quite a lot. And when you thin your oil paint, it gives you an opportunity to spread it really easily, almost like water. Not quite like watercolor, but you know, it starts to spread like that. And honestly, if you use it for various painting techniques, you get some really interesting effects. So you're just trying to see if you can spend some extra money for the month's budget. Well, hey, that's cool, WOF. Like, you know, you get some prints. You get some prints, as I mentioned, or you know, if you have a budget, whatever, feel free to message me on like Instagram or wherever, and you know, we could probably find something, because you know, it all depends. And you know what, if it helps, right? Like, if it helps, if you want to support this artwork, if you want to support the artwork, you don't always have to buy just one of my paintings, right? Like, I know that because I do canvas prints, they're a bit more expensive than regular prints. So I totally understand if that's out of your monthly budget. And if you just simply want to support this channel, you can either you know, subscribe or send a super chat, or if you want to support this channel and help yourself, you could go to that pinned, the pinned message that I haven't pinned yet. Let's pin this message. You can go to this pinned message and get yourself a free trial to Amazon Audible. And if you end up subscribing to your own benefit, getting Audible books through Amazon, I get a small commission from that if you want to do that. So, you know what? And also, if you want to invest in your own art and painting, you can help support this channel by visiting any of the links to recommended products on my YouTube description. And you can go to Amazon, buy any of those products, and I can potentially earn a commission from it. So those are just some options, right? We've got a wide range, whether you want to support the art by buying a physical piece of art that will last you, or you want to support the channel by supporting yourself as an artist and buying yourself some paint supplies, or if you want to just like support as a YouTuber, you can do that as well. And all of it's okay, or just by you being here, you're supporting this channel, and that is fantastic too. So anyway, up to you. There are hundreds of ways you can help support this channel, but if you definitely want a piece of art, and you feel like the eBay ones are a little bit out of your price range, let me know, and we can find. I have I can create various other types of prints, like postcards, if that is what your heart desires. So let me know. We're flexible here. You can chat on Instagram or wherever. But there you have it. So I'm going to flip this over because I want to get the bottom of this canvas. I'm going to get the bottom of the canvas here. Before we start on the main painting, this is really just to get a nice full staining of the canvas. Because one thing that can be really annoying when you're painting is when you're painting and then, you start to see all these like little white specks popping up. And sometimes if you're painting, you stain it with the right color, the canvas. It's called underpainting, but if you underpaint with certain colors, the beauty of oil paint is that color will end up shining through. Now here's a caveat though. So if you're working fresh, right? Like right now I'm working fresh paint, aka alla prima, aka in the first sitting or whatever, the paint's all wet. One thing you have to be conscious of pretty much at all times is the idea that that the paint will be wet. So every color that you put on, you have to consider the color that's underneath. So like right here, there's a little bit of red. If I paint in this area, I have to know that the red is still a little bit wet. That's the thing about oil painting, is I have to know that the red's a little bit wet. So I have to mix it. I'm going to be mixing a color rather than creating a new color. But if this was totally dry, I mean, the situation is a little different. All right. Well, hey, WOF, thanks. If you want to send a super chat, you can do that too. That's another option. If you want to subscribe, that's another option. But all that is fantastic. And your intention is wonderful. So anyway, let's get started. So I had this clipped down here. I've got it clipped down so that it stays when I paint. This has a little rim on it. So there's this little rim. Let me just show you. So this easel goes up to about 36 inches tall. And it has a little rim right here. This little rim. So when you set it down and you push the canvas onto it, you set the canvas onto it, there's a little rim on the bottom too, and it prevents it from like moving and wobbling. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. I use gloves for my artwork. I like to. So oil paint in itself is one of those. You definitely want gloves. You want to take care of your hands. When I first started, I wasn't too worried, but oil paint is really messy, even compared to acrylic. Because acrylic, you can like rinse off with water. With oil paint, you literally have to rinse off with oil or mineral spirits. Oil is very messy. It has a texture. We all know what oil feels like, right? And then mineral spirits are very harmful to, if you keep it on your skin, right? It'll do stuff to your skin. So you don't necessarily want either on your skin. Therefore, if you want to paint long term, you're probably going to want some gloves. So that's why I wear gloves, in case you're wondering. Working with oil paints, watercolors would be a little different, right? Acrylics a little different, but oil paints are a unique one where, and traditionally use turpentine for oil paint to thin it out. But I don't use turpentine. I use mineral spirits, which are, less harmful, and they don't have like a lot of the odors have been removed so that you don't worry about getting the fumes or anything. And it's great. So mineral spirits to thin the paint, right? To make it really easy to spread around. And here we go. Let's get started on the painting. Now I have pretty much no paint on my canvas anymore because I've used it to cover it. So let's start by adding some color here. I definitely I'll start with some darker shades. So let's actually find, I want to find our violet. Let's see, this is a good violet here. He's like, oh no, this is alizarin crimson. What am I doing? That's not violet. All right, so we're gonna start with just adding some quinacridone violet. So this is Gamblin 1980. So Gamblin 1980 is like, I would say it's like entry into, you know, more professional professional artist oil paints. I would say it's entry level as to professional ones. And you know, price does matter, because sometimes some brands will ultimately like add stuff, add fillers. And honestly, I really don't know the exact difference between Gamblin 1980 versus just regular Gamblin. So this is the difference. You'll see what it looks like. So regular Gamblin are usually a little bit more expensive. This is, you know, regular Gamblin. It's just the logo. It just says Gamblin on it. Versus Gamblin 1980 will literally say 1980. I should probably find out the difference. But I definitely think as far as, you know, Gamblin 1980 goes, it does the job pretty well for the majority of situations. And it's so easy to get. I mean, I use all sorts of brands. Winton, you know, Georgian, Dale Rowney, Lucas 1862. And usually what I'll do is I'll use, there's some paints that I'll use for this, like just to spread lots and lots of paint. You know, if I need to just spread it for an undercolor and I don't plan on using it for final details. And then there's paints that I will use just for like very specific details, because they hold the color very well. So it usually depends, right? It usually depends. It doesn't, you know, it changes from painting to painting. But yeah, I will definitely save my more expensive paints for, you know, more detailed stuff where I want the color to really shine. And I'll use, you know, the less expensive, although, you know, even no matter what, like, I don't use like there's a lot of paint that has like filler in it that could be used for this. I haven't really experimented with them yet. But some other, you know, there's a lot of different brands. A lot of different brands out there. And you know what? Like, it all comes down to the result that you want, right? The results. What result is it that you want? And that is how you should be working toward, not solely based on price alone. Because here's the thing. Let me share a great example here. Here's an example. Here's an example. So rather than talking about the price of things, I just want to share an example of different materials, and you know how you can, and why. Where's my other? Where are they? Here we go. So let me just share an example as far as like quality of art supplies go, like physically, so you could see. So I have two brands here. One's, and when I say the quality, I mean the physical qualities, not like quality as in high quality or low quality, because every quality has its uses. Now, you know, so it comes down to what effects you want to have. That's the most important thing. So let me see if I can find something good here. Well, let's just use cardboard. So let's just use cardboard here. So I'm going to take this orange here, and we're just going to paint onto this cardboard. And what you'll see is that it comes off like nice and smooth. This is the Expressionist Crepa brand. And you know, it comes off perfectly fine, right? Now, what you'll find is there's a different quality, which would be a Sennelier brand. Let's get the box over here. So Sennelier brand, as far as oil pastels, and what you'll see is this, like, you know, you just get different colors, and it goes on much, much smoother. And, you know, if you look up close, you can see differences in the quality, but it depends on what you want, right? Like, if you want this textured, rougher look of the orange, then you would go with the other one. But if you want like this super smooth metallic look, then you would get Sennelier. So this is just an example of, like, you know, why you shouldn't always judge your art materials by the price of them. You should really consider what use you're trying to get it for, what use you're trying to have it for, versus versus like what you're trying to do. So, you know, you get some really thick textures with the Crepa. You see, you get this really thick texture here. So you can still do some things and achieve what you're looking for. And then, you know, with this, you just, again, you get this metallic look. So it all depends what you're trying to work with, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve. And I think the same goes for oil painting. You know, to be honest, my eye is not sophisticated enough that I could tell the difference between all the different types of oil paints. And the biggest difference is just like the colors that I see. But I pretty much use like so many different brands. I'm comfortable using a lot of different brands. And just knowing that, you know, there are some brands that I'll use to just like fill the space, right? I just want to fill the space. I want to thin the paint. I don't care if there's materials that are going to dry. You know, sometimes they put filler in it to make it dry faster. And I think that's great. That's great for some oil paint. It's not great for all oil paint because sometimes you want it to take a while to dry. But other times, if you want it to dry faster, you can. But the beauty of oil paint comes from its drying time. Danny E, what's up? Oh my goodness, people have been in the live stream and I've been totally ignoring everybody. YouTube brought you back to the lives. Thank you, Normay. Emmett popping in. I've been busy. You've been busy, but it's always great. Awesome. Well, thanks, Danny E. Thanks for showing the support. Really appreciate it. Hope definitely good to keep up with your artwork too. I see you doing all the drawings and you're really leaning into your way of doing things. So that's great. That's worth celebrating. Okay. So what else? What other colors do I want? I'm going to focus on slightly darker colors for the beginning of this painting. And then we're going to move into some highlights. But I think what we also need is a yellow ochre. So let's grab this yellow ochre too and lay this down. Lay down some yellow ochre. And by the way, if you ever want a tool, this is a must-have tool that I'm about to share with you all. But an absolute must-have tool. Comes in two forms. Either it comes as a key. So you got this twisty key, and this twisty key can be used. And basically you insert the paint, try to push it down a little bit, right? You insert the tube into the paint here, or into the twist key, and you twist it. And you twist it and it helps to push the paint all the way to the top. I mean, you know, like a toothpaste thing, right? Oh, is that? Oh, it already slipped out. But anyway, this is one version. These come in handy if you want to keep your keep each of your things locked in. But the problem is that this can only fit tubes of a certain size, usually the smaller tubes. So if you want to go something a little bit heavier duty, and this is sometimes a little too heavy duty, because I have made holes in some of my my oil paints doing this. But basically, this is a tube squeezer. Now, I don't recommend actually, so I bought 2 of these, one for my toothpaste and one for my oil paint. I will say that my toothpaste one pretty much rusted in the first week that I had it. So however these are made, I don't know what brand or whatever this is, but you know, it works perfect for oil paints, but I wouldn't use it for toothpaste. And it has these little grips at the end. It has these little grips at the end here that help you to hold it, and they're definitely needed. So let me see, just plop it in there. I guess I hold it underhand. Is that how I do it? I don't remember. All right, so you hold it underhand here, and just squeeze, and it starts to push to the top, and you can see where it pretty much ends up. So how's the day going? Day's going good, WOF. It's been a good start to the week. A very good start to the week. I feel like I've won like a small lottery. You know, that's a good feeling, right? I feel like I've won a small lottery. Someone, shout out to them. You know, shout out to Original Mean Girl for buying one of my prints the other day. And thank you for that. And you know, a lot of things are going really good. And of course, cats. My cats make me happy. Look at this guy. How can you not? Look at this little cat right here. Look at him. Look at this cute little cat right there. Little black cat. It's a happy cat, right? All right, he's like, I've had enough of you. That's enough. But he's a handsome little guy. He's a very handsome little fella. All right, so you watch cats as we paint here. All right, let's get started. I've been doing lots of talking. Too much talky, less, not enough painty. All right, so let's start with, I'm gonna grab mix our burnt sienna here. Mix our burnt sienna with our burnt umber. And let's just start getting the shape here. So rule of thirds, I mean, this is like the most simple rule of thirds. Basically, you separate it into sections 3. So, you know, you separate 2 lines that separate into equal thirds, and then you figure out how to balance out the painting that way. So that's the only like form of grid I use, and it's not always easy. Like I don't always get it exact, but I don't always get it exact. But here we go. That's going to be that eye size. And then we're going to come around here. And we're going to come around. And from here, like, I could pretty much use the size of this eye for pretty much every reference for the rest of this painting from here on out. You know, so if I see this, the size of this eye, that's about the length of that. So this side length should be about the size of that length, which is fine. And then I could go like this. And the length of the eye should be like right there. And then we're going to come around and get the shadow right up into the eyes right here. There, and there we're just like gonna build up a smaller eye area on that side. Yo, Bonator, what am I painting today? I'm painting a friend of mine. I'm painting a friend of mine. Yes, that's what we're doing. Painting a friend of mine. So for anything else, that's really what we're doing. So let's go right up here, and we're gonna go straight up, and we're gonna go like, you know, how many eye lengths? Let's see. So one. So we're gonna go the size of this eye up from the eyebrow. So whatever the size of this, the length here is, 1, and then 1, and then 2. So we're gonna come right up here. So just starting by laying in some shadows here. You know, I can also like come around and just start to add some shape here. So right up here, we're gonna come around and just go, let's wrap this around the side of the eye here. And yo, so Bowinator, how's that move going, huh? How's that move coming along? You doing all right? Are you know, how's the neighbors? How's everything? And we're gonna come around this way. And that's about the length of an eye, so we're gonna come around and we're just gonna go around the eye, maybe like right there. So here we go. Yeah, it's going great. Awesome, dude. There you go. Good stuff, man. So glad to hear that the move is going great, man. All right, so here we go. Building up this face. This is the face here. And then let's see how we're going to go. Sometimes finding the nose could be a little bit of a challenge. So the eye, what would be the length of the nose? We would probably pretty much go like right here. Like the nose should be pretty close to the edge here. I'm going to go for a nostril. Nostril's going to come around to the edge of the eye. Well, not the nostril, but this is just the face. And then we're going to come around. We're going to get the nostril here. Let's go around here. And you can start to see, and this is when you can start to see how some of this is going to come together, right? You can already start to see the face. You can already start to see how the face is going to come together. And this should be about the length, the nose to the eye. That should be about the width of this eye right here. So whatever this width is, like right there, we're going to come down, and this is where the lip is going to be. So we're going to come around. And this is going to be a nice big smile to the other eyelid there. And we're just going to keep building this up. I'm using a fairly thick brush, by the way. This is one of my favorite brushes. It is a Princeton Aspen. I got this as part of a pack. It doesn't have the name on it anymore, but the reason why I like it is because I'm pretty rough with my brushes, as you could tell. Like, this brush is not up to standard. You know, it's become quite rough. But I love when the brush reaches this point. And this is actually a synthetic fiber brush, which means, you know, it's not like a natural hair. But what I love about it is synthetic hairs work great if you paint very roughly. If you're painting really rough, synthetic hairs are absolutely like amazing, because, you know, you could be really rough with them. Like, compared to, let's actually have some comparisons here, right? So let's have a couple different comparisons of brush types, just so we can have some examples. I'm just going to do 3. Let's do 3 different brush type examples. I'm gonna go with the badger hair one. Let's see, badger hair, is this one ready to go? No. Maybe you can't really see on the camera, but we're gonna compare 3 different brushes. So this is probably one of my favorite brushes. It's synthetic fiber. You get some really thick, dense brush with this. This is an alternative to that. This is a very rough, coarse, I believe this is a badger hair brush. But what's great about, you know, anything that's like rough is, you know, you could do some damage to them and they'll last. You could be very rough with them. And, you know, over time, they'll pretty much hold their form as long as you just like keep them clean. So, you know, all I really need to do is dip this in a little bit of mineral spirit. I'm trying to pull the bristles apart, but you know, you need to dip this in a little bit of mineral spirit and it's pretty much good to go. But it's very, you know, it's very stiff. I believe this is badger hair, but if it's not badger hair, it's very close to badger hair. I don't know if it's synthetic, but similar to this, I think badger hair is a little bit rougher than this, the Princeton version. And then here's the classic. These are the classic Rosemary Co badger hair brushes. Now, Rosemary Co badger hair brushes, they're very, very fine. If you look at this brush and you compare some of the bristles, you might not be able to see it on camera because some of the bristles are like, some of the bristles here, but these are much, much finer. I want to say like one of these bristles is only like half of either of these brushes. And what you'll find is that this is a much softer and more delicate, but it holds oil paint really, really well, and it helps create nice, soft, traditional blending and textures of oil paints. So that comes in really handy. But I don't use the badger hairs or the soft brushes too much because I find them to be too delicate at times for what I like to do. So let's keep building this up, all right? Let's build up some of these colors. Some of these colors here. We're going to come around. And we're going to go like this. So we're going to come. So this has to come around. Whatever the size of the forehead is. This to the nose. With the nose. This is also cut off a little bit. So the nose to the chin. Let's go like this. Let's just go ahead and blend in the shadows. Let's get some of the shadows going here. We're gonna come around. Let's go like this. Yeah, add a little bit of width into here. And let's find this side of the face here. Come down. And it starts to curve around right under the lips. So we're going to come down around the lip. And this probably can curve in a bit more. And this, honestly, the chin's a little big right now, so I could probably reduce the size of that. Let's go ahead and let's go like this. Blend in some of the cheek a little bit. And we're gonna come around like this. And then, yo, Omizu Paints, the master artist of the time. Look at this, people. We have a master artist in here. Master artist. Museo has a masterwork that makes him a master artist. And I am so lucky to have him grace this channel. So here we go. We're gonna continue building this up. Let's go. Let's go build up this color here. We're gonna come from pretty much right around the eyes. And then from the eye here, we're going to come down with the ear. And this is going to come around like so. And we're just going to come like this. And then let's find the shape of this other figure here. So we got a baby, a little baby. Little baby. And we're gonna keep building this up. There's a cat right there. He's a little baby. He's still under a year old. Still growing. Growing young cat. Soon to be a large cat. But let's see, this baby. It's gonna be like this. Little baby. Let's. I don't draw too many babies, so this will be a fun little experience here. Let me start with the forehead because the forehead needs to be close to the mother. Let's go ahead and I don't need forehead's going to be close to the mother. It might be a little bit too close, so we're going to bring this down just a little bit, bring it down just a bit more, and then this is going to come around. We're going to come around like this. Just doing an outline right for now, right? Just doing the outline. I'm just building up the baby's head right now. Little baby head. So here we go. Just continuing on as this builds up. Let's see. This little baby's head definitely as much wider than it is this length of the forehead. It's good to study a bit. You know, it's good to study proportions of all different types of children or adults or bodies, I should say, of people. Different proportions of people and bodies. And then I'm gonna have little lips come out just a little bit further. Be just slightly smaller than the nose. And then we're gonna come down. And we're gonna have a little lip right there. And come down with the chin here. Little baby chin. Little baby. Babies are so cute. And here we go. So that's a nice shaped baby head. I don't paint babies often. I don't draw babies. And when I was, here's the funny thing. When I used to draw, when I first got into drawing, pretty much every head that I made would look like a baby's because I didn't know proportions. I didn't know proportions right. So if you don't know proportions, I mean, basically you kind of like start to realize that babies, teenagers, whatever, any age, the elderly, there's all different proportions of people's bodies, and they range, and it really makes a big difference when you're trying to draw them. It makes a huge difference. It really does. And which reminds me, I need to do a review of a drawing book. But WF Omizu doing a live stream, and he still managed to comment on the stream. Dude, WF, totally check out Omizu's live stream. Omizu is a grandmaster artist. Yes, he is one of the goats of our time. All right, so here we go. We're gonna come down and we're gonna go like whoop. It's a little baby carriage thing right here. I don't know what this is. It's like a scarf type thing on this little baby. Baby, little baby. Babies are so cute. This little baby. And then this little baby's got a little arm sticking out because it's so cute. Cute little baby arms. All right, let's see. I'm gonna come down here. And let's go. So we're gonna go like this. How long should this baby arm be? I don't really know yet. I haven't figured that out. But let's go ahead and try to measure out some of this. Just sketching out the area here. Maybe come a little bit. This should probably come right where the eye is. So behind the cheek. Around the bone here. Let's add some more color. I want to loosen up the paint, so I'm going to add some mineral spirit to this brush. Add some mineral spirits to this brush so that it spreads a little better. I give him way too much credit. Hey, don't take my word for anything. You should go check out his channel and then decide for yourself. You know. So here comes the other arm. Let's go. That should be actually the baby's arm. Let's see, how big should the baby's arm be? One to the head. Actually, the baby's arm should be like smaller than the head, longer than the head. So let's go like this, like smaller than the head. So we're gonna come around, and this is gonna come like right here, slightly smaller than the head. Little chunky baby. All right, so here we go. All right, and this should pretty much be in alignment. I don't want to give her too long of arms, but you know the elbows should all pretty much be in alignment, which means this arm should pretty much come right down to here. You know, if it has a little bit of, her hands end up being a bit too big, that's okay. So we're all relative, you know, everything is relative. Everything is relative and proportional, and that's ultimately the goal. And here we go, just building up our color here. Who says not me, case closed? Or no, underscore says not me, case closed. What were you saying, not me to? I kind of missed the reference there. You know, when I stream, it can be really easy to get lost in what I was saying. It would be really easy to get lost in the conversation. So if I'm not totally here, it's because I am just speaking. All right, so this baby comes around right here. His little, and his feet come. Little feet come right here. Little feet right there. Just gonna draw the shape of the feet right now. A little shape of the little baby feet. Baby. And boop. Little baby feet. Actually, you know what? I think this one needs to be a little bit closer this way. And then we got to push this baby's feet. A bit down this way. And did it twice now. Your ADHD brain would get distracted by this midstream, and you did see your painting. It's really good. You don't think he gives too much credit? I think he's right on the money. Oh, there we go. Look at Omizu. Look at people agreeing with me. Let's all gaslight Omizu. Let's gaslight the world into believing Omizu's the greatest artist of our time. Can we do that? Is that possible? Is it possible to gaslight the entire world into believing in Omizu's greatness? Because it seems like Omizu won't believe in his own greatness. So, you know, maybe his mind is too strong and impenetrably immune to influence. So, you know, if you can't influence Omizu, you might just have to, like, influence the world. Right? Anyway. What is possible? Let's go. Let's actually add some of this color into here. It's gonna add. I like this color. It's like a gold. Just gonna paint some of this gold in here. Does this? So this is just a friend of mine, not just a friend. Some of the, you know, I think you definitely, if you stick around in Los Angeles, what you'll find is that, you know, people come and go so fast that, you know, people that you meet early on, if they're still around, they just, like, you just kind of naturally get close to them, especially if you know, start like the same business or whatever. Actually, I'm gonna make this a little bigger. This little crown here. We're gonna go bring in a crown. In this crown, and we're gonna just make it nice and big here. You know what? I think it comes a little higher. And we're gonna just come around, bring this crown up, and then it's really a crown, and then we're gonna come around here, and then paint some whatever this little knot area is, and then bring this down like right around there. And it's gonna come around. So here we go. Again, just building up colors, right? That's all painting is. This is why, you know, like with oil paint, people are intimidated by oil paint, but I think it's like, he just says you can't just tell everybody you're gaslighting them. Well, anyway, this is what's amazing about oil paint, right? Like, if this oil paint doesn't dry, I think that's amazing, because that means I can, like, move this paint around for hours and hours. I could paint for hours and just keep moving this paint around. Now, here's a problem, though. If you use really thick paint, that's when, you know, it becomes like an issue. If you use really thick paint, it can become an issue. You can't really paint for that long because, you know, if you're going to try to, if I can, like this, right now, it's a very thin layer. Right now, the layer is very thin. And if I try to work on this layer, it's not too difficult to, like, maneuver the paint around, right? I could paint over stuff. But if you start to use paint that's too thick, which I, you know, often do, you can start to reach this point where, you know, you're not getting the effects that you probably want. You're not going to get the effects you want because the paint just becomes too difficult to work with, and it's just too thick, and you're basically, you know, using a totally different technique than what you originally started with. So, you know, there is that consideration here. And we're going to come around and we're going to make this side, this area a little bit smaller. This side a little bit thinner. to really just bring in some of these colors together. And here's the thing, like when you paint with oil paint, what you really start to realize real quickly that's really interesting is, you know, like every color really builds on top of another. Let me take this time to get rid of some paint boogers that I'm starting to see that are bothering me. So paint booger here, paint booger here. Let's see, paint booger here, paint booger here, paint booger here, paint booger here. Where else? And all you need to do to see paint boogers is just kind of like look at your painting from the side and just look for like little raised surfaces. And you just scrape them off. And sometimes you have to be careful with the scraping, but this is like the first layer. So, you know, it's fairly easy to work with. Now, let's go back into the plausible effect. Honestly, the only thing a lot of artists are missing, I'm going to share a conspiracy theory. By the way, is everybody okay with a conspiracy theory? So I have this theory. Has anyone ever seen that that experiment on Facebook? Or not experiment, I'm calling it experiment because that's my conspiracy theory. But has anyone ever seen that that image of like the dress, and it goes, oh, is this dress blue and black, or is it gold and whatever, right? Has anybody ever seen that image? Probably everyone has. And here's my conspiracy theory. So my conspiracy theory is that was one of the first social media experiments, and I don't believe that it was just randomly posted and went viral. I believe that that was actually created by, you know, maybe some research company or maybe even Facebook to test if you could make people disagree. If it was, what would it take to make people question what they're seeing, right? That was like the first social experiment to do that. And that's what I believe that image was. And, you know, no one ever came out and admitted to the experiment. But, like, here's the thing. That dress is obviously blue and black. No one can argue with me about that. There's just no debate about the color of that dress. But here's the question. Here's the real question. The real question is, how many people does it take? How many bots? How many fake accounts? How many scientists have to make fake accounts to make people question their own, what they're seeing, right? All you would need is like 10 to 100 fake Facebook accounts that would say that it's the other color, right? To say that it's actually gold and whatever. You only need like 10 to 100 before people start questioning themselves. And that is the thing, so that's my conspiracy theory. That was actually one of the first social experiments. And why do I say that right now? Because what we're talking about right now is how can we make and market Omizu as one of the greatest artists of our time. And how many people do we need? We probably just need like 20 people. We all, you know, chip in some money to have Omizu set up in a nice little gallery in Los Angeles or anywhere. And just like have like 20 or 30 shills chilling in that building, and just be like, yeah, Omizu, how do you not know Omizu? How do you not know Corey? He's like the greatest artist of our time. He's the greatest known artist of our time. How do you not know him? Are you not cool? You're not with the program. And like, if you get enough people to say that, like, you know, how many, and then you know, you put into work on social media. How many people do you need on social media? And even if it doesn't last long, I think you could eventually convince a few people. You know, you get a couple people to post on Reddit, and then people will be like, oh, I don't know Omizu. And then they look them up, and then, you know, if you do some good internet marketing, like, you'll see Omizu. And then You know, it just spirals from there. Social media marketing, Omizu, could be the greatest artist of our time if marketed properly. And how many people? But oh yeah. So the reason why I brought up that dress question is like the question is I think that the research would be like, you know, how many people does it take? How many people does it take to convince the world that you are a famous and recognized artist, if not the greatest of our time? How many people? Omizu says a death spiral. Omizu has no desire to play that game of becoming the best artist alive. All right, that's fair. Fair enough. It's all good. Omizu doesn't have that desire, so you know what? But you know what? Sometimes what you don't want still comes to you. How does that feel? How does that feel? Sometimes even the things that you don't want still end up finding their way to you. Which is why everybody should buy Omizu's art while they still can. Before he becomes like Banksy and starts shredding his artwork. So let's build this up here. We'll go around with this. It's got a foot right here. There's a cute little foot. So this little baby's foot should go like this. There's some shadow right there. I'm gonna come around this knee. And let's find some other shapes that we need in this. Right across, no, I don't want to use this color for the baby, around the baby's face. It's not going to work. But this right here, let's see, we can see a little foot in here, a little foot action. So all right, and here we go. So this foot is going to come straight across, and we're just going to, we got a nice little floor here. And you know what, let's round this shoulder out a bit, round it out. And we're going to come around and just go like so. How's this looking? All right, so we've got some design here. We've got a little image going on, right? Is that right, Scout? Come here. As long as it's organic. Theory may be more true than I realize. Exactly, Omizu. Thank you. Thank you. What's up, bud? You having some little cat dreams, huh? What you dreaming of? Scout, what are you dreaming of, dude? Why do you want to put your palm at this? Huh? Yeah. What's up, pal? All right. Kiss your cat for good luck. Everybody kiss your cat for good luck. Okay. So what now? You know what? Let's start to add in some shadows around in our item here. So we're gonna go like this just to start bringing stuff in. We're gonna bring in a shadow. This. then we're gonna go around like that. And then we're gonna come around like this. So this is really just adding some dimension. If I was really, I'm starting to build up dimension a little bit early. Just using black to pretty much, well, not black. It's like a burnt umber mixed with a little bit of our black. And I just want to add the shadows in on this like headpiece here. I don't know exactly what it's called. I think it's just a scarf. I don't know if there's an actual like proper name for it. I think it's just a scarf, right? Pretty much just a scarf, I believe. And we're gonna come into here. So using this color, and it's a dark brown mixed with some black, and we're finding just some shapes. And here we go. So continuing this on, let's see. Let's go. Let's go build in. We're gonna build in the shadow right underneath her chin here. So there's some deep shadow right around the baby's face. So we're gonna come down into here. We're just gonna build in some shadow here. Let's use this to really nail down this baby's nose. And what this is going to do is it's really going to help to create that like dramatic appearance of those old paintings. Really create that dramatic appearance of like the older paintings from back in the day that we all like know and love, right? It's just drama, right? And what do I mean by drama? Drama in this situation is all it is contrasting things that are very dark with things that are very light. So shadows with lighter areas. And that's pretty much what Caravaggio came up with, tenebrism, Tenebrism. Chiaroscuro, I think is the term for it. Tenebrism is extreme play of light and shadow, right? It is the extreme of it, meaning you're basically putting all shadows with like as close to ivory black as you can, and doing lights as close to white as you can, and just having very, very subtle like middle colors. And that in itself creates a sense of that play of light and shadow really creates a lot of drama into an artwork besides the contents itself. So here we go. No cape. I too should be conspiracy theorist. I should be conspiracy theorist. Well, if you think that's a conspiracy theory, like I don't know. I don't have the time to be a conspiracy theorist. Like usually I'll think of something. I'll be like, you know what? That could be true. And then I got to move on with my life. Like even if I believed the earth was flat, I wouldn't spend my time, trying to prove it. I don't think the earth is flat, by the way. And then let's go right here. So we're going to start to put in some more of these shadows here, right into areas where there's occluded light. And as you can see, we're already starting to capture some of the dimensionality of whatever's going on. And you know, obviously I'm not as good at this play of like of tenebrism and chiaroscuro. I'm not as good as like let's say Rembrandt or Caravaggio or Titian, but you know what? I think as we understand the basics, at least knowing some of the basics is enough to understand what it does, right? That's what we aim to achieve, is to at least just understand what it does as far as the technique, what it aims to achieve, and that is ultimately like a sense of drama. A cute little baby head. Now, I don't want to make the hair look too babyish. I want to give it, you know, like a sense of make it cute. So I gotta find a way to make this hair look cute in a way. Start to add some shadows onto the face here. Okay, painting. That's what I'm supposed to wipe my painty hands on. You don't. Oh yeah, I need my cape. I forget. I keep forgetting to buy a cape. And you don't believe painting is a obsession. You are a force of expression. I paint it exactly. All right, so here we go. We're gonna get the eyebrow. Let's find where we need the eyebrow. The eyebrow. Go up to the nose. The eyebrow should be like just up on the forehead, a little bit above the nose, behind. We're gonna go like right there. Some dark eyebrows on this child. It's funny. Let's go right underneath the chin here. This head is actually pretty massive. Maybe it's a little, I think the head might be a little bigger than it's supposed to be. Let's see, you know, it kind of makes sense. The head is the size of, yeah, it's a little bigger because this other head is, no, that's about right. Let me see. Try to measure this head out. Is the head supposed to be this dang big? Babies have really big heads, right? Like the head of the baby is supposed to be about the size of the whole body, so. All right, that's, you know, actually, this is actually pretty accurate. I'm thinking the size of this head is almost cartoonish, but it's not. The size that I'm painting almost feels like cartoonish, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually pretty accurate. I think the eye needs to be a little bit bigger, actually. That might be some of the issue here. Oh yeah, the eye actually needs to go right into the nose. And then let's get some ear details here. So we're gonna get some ear details. The ear is actually surprisingly low here. So we're gonna go match this right below the lip here. So we're gonna go around. Top of the ear should go right around. And then here we go. We're gonna and then get the top of the lip. Add some color to the lip there. And add some shadow where the armpit is, because there's no light getting into the shadow. I mean, no light getting into the creases of the armpit. And get some shadow where the leg. Let's see how we get some shadow into the toes here, just to start building up. So we can start building up stuff. 1. Get the toe right there. 2, 3. And let's get the other one. So we're gonna go like around 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start adding some shadow in between the fingers here. So we're gonna go between the fingers, and just to add and we can start to see, now we can actually start to see that this is a baby, little baby. Little baby. And here we go. Let's go keep building this up. You know what? I'm going to get a little closer with this stream. Nobody really cares about the cat, right? You don't care about the cats. How dare you? I almost can't get rid of the cat. So we're just going to have to live with this. All right, so let me get some of the shape into the ear. You know, I don't want to dominate the ear with this color. So what we got to do, let's go right into here. Let's see, how do we get this area down a little bit? The hardest thing, some of the hardest things about painting really comes from just not having a reference. Well, you know what? No. Let me take this back. So what I do with, like, for paintings like this, right, is usually, you know, I have a friend that maybe I've painted before, and I'll just like surprise them with a painting. I just want to use them as a reference or whatever. And but you know, in that case, usually the photos that you're working with aren't taken for the purpose of you know, dramatic artwork, right? They're taken with the purpose of just telling a basic story on social media. And the problem with that for the painter is, you know, if you're learning how to paint, what you really learn about is, like, you know, how to work forms and find lights and create highlights and midtones and values and all these things. And you learn about all these things. And you look at all these classical paintings that are just absolutely brilliant. And you like do a painting and you look at you compare it to like the greats, and then you wonder like why it doesn't have that same sense of drama, have that same sense of like vibrance. And I think a lot of that comes down to because, or if I'm analyzing my own work, a lot of that comes down to because I'm not using the right references. And when I say right references, I mean, you know, I'm picking the references, but they're not designed with the idea of, like, you know, this with the idea of creating a painting in mind, right? They're just there. They're just there, and I'm using them. So that's just something to consider and think about when you're, you know, looking for references. Well, let's go. Let's find a nice mid-tone here. We're gonna grab our purple, and I'm really curious to see how our purple mixes with our yellow ochre here. I'm gonna get a yellow ochre, purple. I'm just trying to use like our purple to capture some of the skin tone. The flesh tone, I should say. Let's capture some of the flesh tones here. Let's go down the arm here. I'm gonna go, that's daunting. What is daunting? We're just gonna go over here. Just capture some of the flesh tones. That sounds daunting. I don't remember what I said that sounded daunting. And here we go. We're gonna find some of the fleshy tones, a little bit lighter flesh tones. I would say that this is like not quite a mid-tone, but maybe a little bit less than a mid-tone. And let's see. So we're gonna go like this. And we're gonna find this triangle on the face here, right under the eyes. And one great thing about knowing how you paint and spending a lot of time painting is knowing that, knowing like your flaws. That's really helpful to know like some of the flaws with the way you paint. Because when you can be conscious of like, sometimes, so here's an example, right? Usually I used to make this gap between the nose and the lip really, really wide. And you do that a couple times and you look at your painting and you're like, or your drawing, and you're like, why does this look so weird, right? And then you're like, oh, it's because I make the distance between a nose and a lip too wide. And then you do that a couple times and you start to learn. You're like, oh, okay, well, you know what? That's why practice, that's the great thing about practice, right? It's not so much like about getting better. It's about like noticing your habits and finding your little quirks, finding your quirks. And let me go a little bit lighter. You know what? I want to grab a blue. I'm going to grab a little bit of a blue. Let's grab I'm going to grab I'm going to use this King's Blue. So I've had this King's Blue for a while. This is a fancy brand. Williamsburg Artist Oil Paints. And this is Royal Blue. Got this as a gift. So thank you, Melissa, for getting me this wonderful set of paints. And this is a paint that I'm a little bit more precious with because it is a very unique color. It is a King's Blue, which ultimately it's like a very unique baby blue. It's a very unique, like, little baby blue color. But oh, you know what? Like, it would be really hard to like match it if I was to mix it myself. But let's take a look at what this color looks like. So this is what King's Blue looks like, right? It's like a really light baby blue. Maybe it's hard to see on the camera, but it's you know, it's slightly darker than a baby blue, which is like almost white, but it's a little bit lighter than my gloves. But it's a cool color. I love this color, the King's Blue. So we're actually going to use this for some of the highlight areas. Let's actually add some highlights into this. We're going to use this for some highlight. And also knowing that some of this color is going to end up blending into the red. So if I know that, you know, basically I just have to reduce the blueness of this a little bit. And let's see if we can just blend this down. It worked a little bit. And then we're going to go into here. We're just going to go add a little highlight right there, start to add in some of these highlights here. And let's really play this up. This space between our the eyes here. Separation between the eye and what's kind of cool is the undercolor, the color underneath, right, which is the orange, red, whatever you want to call it. That orange red is still coming through depending on what color I use. Not only is it mixing with the colors that I'm using, but it's also shining through here. So it is shining through, which is wonderful. It's shining through when I bring the layers down. Let's actually add some of this around the side over here. And then let's just subtly brush this across. And let's go take some more of this color, a little bit more. Let's just go down the arm here. And then let's grab a little bit more of this color. Gotta find just the right combination of this. We're gonna bring this, actually, you know what, let's bring this into the eyelid here, just a little bit across the eyelid. And let's go see, what's great is I could really be rough with this brush. This is a brush I could be really rough with, and I love it. I love brushes that I could be really rough with. I do better. And when I say rough, I'm like, you know, vigorously, right? Like you see my handwork, I'm like vigorously scrubbing the paint in. And I think there's better brushes for that technique. I just haven't found them. There's like brushes specifically for like, you know, this technique that I'm, you know, this like this vigorous brush making. But I don't use that. I mean, I guess this is it, right? I was gonna say I don't use them, but I kind of do. Kind of am using them. How can I say I'm not, right? So this is gonna come up and around, up and around, up and around. And this is just gonna help us create like a softness here. Add some highlight onto the cheek. And let's go right into the lip right here. Just add a little bit of a color into the lip here. And how do we find other things? Let's go. Let's keep going with this shade. You know, I think it's gotten, I've lost the blue. Let's try to find something that's gray too. We're gonna take some of this gray in and we're gonna go right into here. What's a good color with blue? Blue and orange. Blue and orange go together. But let me see if I could find a good, nice like, should I take this green? This green might be okay. I'm gonna find some green here. Let's go, no, I wanna paint in this whole area first. Let me find a good green. I'm gonna mix this green with some Gamblin green. So we're gonna take this deep green, layer it down right there, and I want to find a hint of yellow. So we're gonna take our, got Gamblin 1980 yellow. We're going to do that. And then we're going to find Gamblin 1980 yellow meets green. So let's try to do that. Let's grab a little bit of green. And then we're going to blend in our yellow here. Reduce the overall saturation of it with our white. And then ideally find that color that we're looking for. So all right, this could be good. So a bit more yellow, a little bit reduced saturation with their white, a little bit more. A little extra paint never hurt nobody. The only time it would hurt is if you, you know, if you're obsessed with like color economy, and it's really important to you to never waste paint, and every little bit has to like be used or whatever, then that might be an issue. But let's go into here, and we're just gonna paint this in here. Let's go. You know what? This could use a little bit more green. A little bit more green, a little bit darker on the green. So there we go. That's a little bit darker, and we're just gonna paint this whole area. Just paint it down. this. And then there's another one part that comes right around here. Oh, that's gonna look funny. Ah, here we go. So we're gonna come around like this. This is how it goes. This is how it goes. And go. We're gonna take this, just keep this blending up. Blending down, blending up, blending around town. I gotta bring this down a little bit because I gotta bring it into the toes here. And then we're gonna come into here. And there we go. So we've actually got some details right here. Let's go bring this down. Just want to create the first layer of this. And you know, sometimes with paintings I could just like paint for hours, and then sometimes, you know, I reach a point where like the detail just doesn't work, and that's when I really need to take a break because I'm starting to like mess up details. But for now, like I'm not, it's just all flowing, right? This is what I would even call my flow state right now. For now. Sometimes the flow state only lasts like 15 minutes when I just kind of get lost in my painting and like, you know, everything else just folds away. And then sometimes it lasts for a while. But this is when you know, when you get into a flow state, that's when you know that you're doing the right thing, right? When I say the right thing, I mean like the thing that inspires you, the thing that, you know, gets you going. And you know what I need is mineral spirits. I need to dip some mineral spirit into this and get this paint to spread a little better. Right, this paint hasn't been spreading very well, as you can see, and that's mainly because I didn't have any mineral spirits. I didn't have any. You can see it starts to spread a little bit better when you start to add in those things. So let's go ahead and add our mineral spirit in here so that we can spread it. And as you can tell, easily. Paint spreads so much easier. And just keeping it pretty loose. You know, that's the goal. Looseness. The goal is to be loose. For this initial phase. Because this initial phase, I mean, you know, we're just blocking in color. We're just laying down our color here. And here we go. So honestly, I've lost the green, probably because I did the whole switch to mineral spirits, but that's okay. The important part is blocking in and making sure that, you know, you have color in the area that you want. And honestly, sometimes like doing it like this and then letting it dry for a day, it actually creates like a really interesting effect. You know, there's a cool effect that happens when you paint on top of like this like rough area. So let's go ahead and make sure that we get some red and green into this. And this is going to come down. Let's get some of this right into here. And some of this coming across like that. And is that good? Is that... Do I have Omizu's approval? Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. Bam. Boom. Zip. Zap. Zoop. Loop. Hippity hop. Beep. Boop. Beep. Bleep. Blop. Blop. etc. All right, let's go into here. We can probably actually bring this down. You know what? This color is not going to work because it's gotten too much of our gotten too much of the undercolor into it. So you know what? This actually might work over here. Let's see. Ah, this actually works for the top of the arm right here. So I want to reduce the, get rid of this like, get rid of this. It's actually a pretty good color. Maybe blend some of this into here. And let's go. Trying to find just like the right shades of color here. Let me see. We take our yellow ochre here. If you mix green with red, it's gonna dull out both colors. Let's see how this could turn out. It's gonna gray it out, right? If you mix, oh, woo! Right now is a great time to do a color wheel demonstration. So here's a tool I like to use. And at some point you kind of figure it out in your head, but then sometimes you're still like, you still like some stuff. And honestly, I forgot how I was gonna use this just now. Oh yeah, when you mix complementary colors, green, so right here it says complementary. So basically complementary, basically opposite, well not opposite, but when you put the two colors side by side, red and green, blue and orange, when you put the two colors side by side, they create like an effect. Scientifically proven that complementary colors go well together. Has it actually been scientifically proven, or have we all just been come to accept it because people say it? But anyway, back to the science of color. If you take these two colors and then mix them together, you're pretty much going to get like a gray. So let me see if this actually demonstrates it here. So if you go green, you start to add red, you're going to get like this almost, it's more of like a brown. What would you even call that color? So it starts to gray it out. But you get like this weird, what color is that? It should say, if you add red, you get this tertiary color. Yeah, you get like a warm, if you mix green and red, you get like this purple. Is that like, I can't tell, is that like a purple? Anyway, I actually thought I was going to say gray. Which, it almost is. It's like a brownish gray. But you can pretty much get a neutral color. There we go. Is my color theory on point? No. But whatever. Whatever. Alright, so let's build this up. We're just going to lightly build these little colors here. And let's see how we can find, let's find a little bit of our purple. We'll mix some light green into our purple here. And we're just gonna find some shades of purple. Is that a movie? No, The Color Purple. Kat, what's the movie Color Purple about?
It's about a little girl growing up in the 1930s in the South, who's repeatedly raped by her.
Oh, that's horrible.
Father. And then she's forced to marry this old man because he wants to get her off his back. And she marries the old man, and she has to clean his house and take care of his rotten class kids.
Aw.
Basically, she's like a slave to him. And he has sex with her, but he doesn't love her, he doesn't treat her right. And then the woman that her husband is actually in love is a singer, she's beautiful, and she takes Celie, the girl, under her wing, and they end up becoming lovers. And Celie knows what it's like to be in love for the rest of her life.
Aw, it's precious. Who's the leader? It's not Oprah.
Huh?
Oprah's in it,
Yeah,
right?
she is.
But she's not like the lead.
No, no, no. She's Steven Spielberg.
Hmm.
Alex.
All right, I think I should tighten up this area of the face. So we got a good shadow right here. I'm gonna find nice yellow ochre. Yeah, I've made some progress. Thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. I'm trying to figure out how can I get this closer here. Okay. What is this color right here? Oh yeah, so let's come around. Oh, that's it's gonna come like this. Let's clean off this brush. And let's go. Let's actually work on this, the baby. Let's work on the baby here. So we're gonna go with yellow. Grab our yellow. Grab our yellow ochre. So ochre it up. Grab our white. And I want to grab some mineral spirit here. Dip it in some mineral spirit. And let's try to find this color right here. And then let's go with some highlight color along the side of the face here. We're gonna go like this. Excuse me. Oh, that's not working. Just such a density of color there. Let's go like this. This is a little baby finger. And another baby finger, and then another. Baby finger. Gesundheit. My goodness. You all right? Let's go. Might be a little too much yellow, but we could figure that out later. We could still work this out. But you know what? This yellow might be great for this headpiece here. If we start to paint some in, like right here. Yeah, there we go. It's a good place to start adding in some of this yellow. It's like a gold. Almost. And then let's try to find our highlights right into here. We're going to go like this. Come down like so. And let's go to here. Just continue building up with this color. Adding some color into this, or no, some lights into our the scarf here. Light and shadow. The interplay of light and shadow. And here we go. So this is going to come around, come around. This arm is really going to bother me. But it's really, I mean, it's flat. Like the color is really flat right now. And you know what? Like it's kind of like a weird shape. So I'm going to try to do something to... It's okay if it's flat, but I just don't want to get into the trap of making a shape bad, because eventually when I do work on it, if the shape is off, you're going to have some issues. But if, you know, the shape is okay, then, you know, there's stuff you could fix. But it's actually turning out okay. It's all right. Don't stress too much, Emmett. So let's go. Let's whiten this highlight a little bit. We're actually going to go with gold highlights on the baby as opposed to white highlights. Let's go with some gold highlights here. And honestly, it's blending in with the red because the red's still really dry or wet. So that's cool. I mean, we're just going to work with it, right? We're going to work with this red. Just allow it to be, right? Let the paint do its job, which is be colorful. You know, no sense in trying to fight it. Just go along with it, right? Allow the work of the paint to find itself. The only thing well, I mean, there's a couple things I'm having, but the big thing with this section is the paint's kind of sticky, which happens when, you know, your paint was in the process of drying and it wasn't totally dry, like AKA from another night, right? Like I was painting yesterday and you know, of course, some of this paint was from yesterday and it didn't fully dry yet. Therefore, I should finish this area right here. That would tie this all together. That's a problem that I have, by the way, people, is I'm constantly like going from area to area. I see something, I'm like, oh, I should do that. And then like I get distracted and I go and try to do it. And that could be a problem if you can't focus on one area at a time. And is there really any solution? Not really, besides just knowing yourself. You know what? The baby's eye's a little bit too far back. I might be able to adjust it later, but right now might not be the best time. Let's see. All right, let's build this color up. We're just gonna, you know, add some. Put some into the lip right here. And then get right onto the earlobe. Add some highlight onto the earlobe because that's what I see. I'm building on what I see. Not imagining any of this, just... Yeah, this part's gonna be bothersome, but you know, it's pretty rough right now, but ideally at some point it's not gonna be so rough and we're just gonna, you know, have an opportunity to just smooth out everything. But it might take a day or two because, you know, it does take a little bit for this paint to dry, and right now the way I'm working with the paint, it's still sticky. Still sticky. So let's finish this part of the face. All right. Distractions. One thing painting will teach you, if you're willing to learn it, not everybody learns it. One thing painting will help you to do, will teach you, is to like focus, I think. Or if it doesn't teach you to focus, it's like, you know, obviously you could paint millions of different ways. There's 100 billion different types of paintings you could do. But you know, if you get into the zone, you start to realize what that is like, right? When you get into this flow state, you start to realize what that really means. And then what you could do is, you know, you get into that flow state. It's just really interesting. It's a really powerful place to be. So let me see how I can tighten up this area around the eye. And let's go right into this cheek area. And then we're actually going to take the same, let's add a little bit of red. Do a little bit of a red-white color. Do a little red-white color and get this lip coming down like so. going deep. There's no suffering in the present Oh, Justina. Hey, what's up, Justina? Yes, no suffering in the present moment. There's only breath. No suffering in the present moment. Just breath. Right. Maybe that's why, you know, painting is a reprieve from suffering when you get into the zone. Now, I don't want to get too, you know, woo-woo here. But I do agree with the statement. I have my beliefs. I don't want to overcomplicate this live stream by going into my thoughts on meditation and everything. But so far, you know, with this painting, really just getting in some of the areas here. Getting paint into some of the areas. And I'll say I have too many different colors. So that's an issue. I have too many different colors, kind of, you know, makes it look uncohesive, which that's a problem with the way I paint, by the way. You know, I usually use an open palette, which means I have all these different colors on my palette, and I don't limit the number of colors, which that could be a problem because, you know, it kind of pulls you away from focusing on values. Kind of pulls you away from focusing on values. I've been using this brush for far too long. When I say values, I mean, you know, the range of like light and shadow and everything else in between of a color that you use. And you know, if you're not if you're using too many different colors, you know, it can distract you from all that. So we're actually gonna take this brush and let's just layer down. You know, before I finish today, I want to pretty much get this whole thing pretty much like filled with some good coloration, with a good, nice deep color, nice deep colors before the end of the night. I'm gonna get some nice deep colors, or not nice deep. What am I saying? Nice, just like full coloration of the majority of this painting. That's the goal. So that's what I'm working on here. I've been, so sometimes I change my technique up a lot, and I think, you know, rather than what I've been doing, just building up each little highlight piece by piece, it really helps to set down the major color areas that you're going to use. And then you can work from there. Oh, wait, this is going to come, actually, this is actually going to come all the way down. Can't even see what happened there. Huh. Alright, whatever. Let's go to the other side here. Just going to paint this down. Let's actually bring in some purple, lighten this up. Excuse me. Oh, thank you. For anyone that's about to say Gesundheit. If no one says it, thank you to someone thinking it. Nobody's thinking it. Nobody is blessing you. Alright, I'm going to go down to this. Really want to change the trajectory of this canvas here. I'm going to come down and come around. Just keep it real rough. These paintings take a while. Let's go find a little bit of white. You have to respect the process. You type slow. Flow state looks beautiful. Thank you, thank you. This area needs some modification around the chin. Separation of the face and everything. But we will have it. We will get it. We will get it eventually. What color do I have? Oh yeah, I have a white. So what do we need the white for? What was I about to do? What was I going to do with this white? Why do I have this color right now? Oh, for the feet. Yes. That's right. For the feet. And let's see, I think we could build up the face a little bit. Let's use our yellow ochre here. Just gonna build up the face, a little bit around the face here. And let's go. Let's grab this yellow ochre again. We're actually going to come in here with it. And then right into here, let's get a nice soft transition into here. Let's see, this arm, this leg, this part of the body, let's grab. Before I finish the night, I would like to, I really want to tighten up the chin area. And what do I need to do to make that happen? I don't really know yet. I don't really know what I need to do to tighten up that chin. Do I still have the foster kit? Yes, we adopt. Oh, so it depends on which one you're talking about. In total, we've fostered 3 kitties. Out of those 3, we adopted 2. And we also did a vacation fostering. So we had another set of 4 kitties that we took care of, but we didn't really foster them. We were just like a babysitter for the foster, if that makes sense. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with our purple here. I want to find a good mix of our purple. I want to try to find a good mix of our purple and purple. Purple and white. I want to find a good purple white. A nice royal purple to go with this. Here we go. I'm just going to lay this down nice and thick. Lay this down nice and thick. Lay this down right here, nice and thick, nice and thick. Let's see. We're going to actually get this all around, hopefully. Let's see if we can get it all around. Here's something that I always mess up on. So what I do is I don't mix enough color. I don't get enough of the color, enough paint. So it ends up being like different shades of purple. I sometimes have that mistake. So let's go down into here, lay down some of this purple, lay down right here, purple, 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 purple. Love this purple. And why did I pick purple? Let's get into the science of it. So I'm using the scarf on the head is yellow, and I'm using a lot of like yellow, like I'm getting a lot of yellows on the faces or the flesh tones. Therefore, I feel, hypothetically speaking, theoretically speaking, scientifically speaking, I may be right, I may be wrong. I believe that, if we're going to be all scientific and technical about it, I believe that the colors should go well together. The purple combined with the purple combined with the yellow on the skin tones, and the scarf should be a good mix. So, you know, that is the idea. And I'm just going to use a nice wet layer paint. Just going to go around. So that's the science of what's happening right now, in case anybody's wondering. This is just color science. This is not rocket science. And it's all theory anyway, right? It's all theory. It is all theory. And I don't want to make this color too like bright. I don't want to make it too bright. I want to keep it like fairly on the more saturated side of purple. And honestly, I think it's coming off pretty good. You know what? I don't know. I think that the background was good. I don't know. We'll see how this turns out. I mean, we can always paint over it again, but it would be nice if it was like perfect the first time around. You know, why can't things be just exactly the right, perfect way when you first attempt? Make your first attempt, huh? this arm. Let's go right up into the head here. Let's go fill this area around the head. So step one, phase one, working through it right now. One with purple here. So that's what we're sticking with. And you know, the good thing is that at some point this could change, and that's okay. But as long as we get that initial foundation here, we're good to go. What's up, Scout? Why are you scratching the post like a mad cat, huh? This is going to be my most important section to clean up. And I think I know what needs to happen. Let's clean off this brush. It's dripping. That's what happens when you use very wet paint. It drips. So here's what I gotta do. I really want to fix this face up. There's just too much here that kind of makes it look a little funky. So I need to find the right separation under the neck. If I could really tighten up under the neck here. So this needs to be a bit more dramatic, this area right here. And then let's see, how do we tighten this up? I think is that working? No. I think in general this chin needs to be a little bit smaller as well. Like a crescent shape. And let's see, how do we create a transition? I think it needs a bit of a transition here. I just want to get this area. Just a little bit of a transition here. And hopefully it can work. I don't know. Let's get some lips here. Let's get some lips into this. And then let's add just little bits of highlight for the teeth here. Little bits of highlight for the teeth. I'm just gonna leave that here. It's not precise. And let's see. Is that chin? The chin's looking a little better. It's just the really important piece. Maybe it's just a little too light. Yeah, let's see. How can we find... It's a good shade for this. Wolf, you like how the background colors match the human colors? You think they match? That's cool. Thanks. Yeah. They match. All right. If you think they match, that's cool. I didn't even do it on purpose, but if you say it is so, then in your mind it is so, and therefore it is so. You know what? Let's go. This. Let's see how we can find shape of our face here. Right here, there needs to be some transition. So let's try to find a nice little transition in between. Transition here. Nope, that's too bright. Actually, you know what? This can actually work right into here. I think these shadows just aren't working here. Just a little too dramatic. It might be a little better. Yeah, that's a little better. Let's try a little too, yeah. All right, so I think once these colors dry a bit, we'll be able to work them a little better. I should stop. See, this is when I start to get in trouble. I'm like, oh, hey, let me just take whatever colors on my brush right now and just start to kind of like just paint anywhere. That's where I get in trouble. And sometimes it works out okay, right? Like sometimes it works out okay, but other times I just kind of like start blending areas and then like starts to mess up a little bit. And this is when I know it's almost time to stop. I'm not going to stop right away because I actually think what's happening is actually pretty good, but it's not bad. But I do realize if I keep doing this, there's going to be times when, there's going to be a moment when I'm like, all right, that's too far, right? That's too far. And here we go. We're gonna paint some into there. And I think right now, it's probably about a good time to chill, to stop. We're going 2.5 hours. All right. Emmett is a great intuitive painter. Only time will say. Wolf says I'm a master. Oh, goodness. Come on now. You know what? If I reach 10,000 hours of streaming, will I be allowed to call myself a master? 10,000 hours of art streaming. Does that count? If I reach 10,000 hours, is that enough? Is that enough? Are you not entertained? All right, well, I probably got about 9,000 more hours to go. I feel like I've hit at least 1,000 hours of painting. Live stream. That's just through live streaming. I would say that I'm pretty sure that I've hit at least 2,000 hours or 1,000. Is that enough? All right, well, there we go. That's my goal. Hit 10,000 hours of live stream painting, and then people will finally call me a master. Master of art. Master of art. 10,000 hours of streaming. Yeah, I'm really pretty certain that I've hit at least 1,000. So, and this is like, you know, painting hours. I have at least 2,000 hours of content, but of actual art painting, I think I have much less. So therefore, you know, let's at least get this baby's feet in here. I'm gonna paint in the baby's feet just loosely, so we have some highlights to work from next time. Let's grab our pink, grab our white. I'm going to go with a pink white. And let's see how the baby's feet look. They're going to come in here, and we're just going to come around. Look at that, right there. Little baby's toes. Cute little baby. And then we're gonna come around. And another little baby toe right there. Oh no, wait, it's gotta go like right there. These are pretty much the same color, so little baby bean toes. Babies have bean toes too, right? One. So that's toe 1, toe 2, toe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's 5 toes. Good. We're on the right path here. And then here we go. We got another little baby bean toe right here. Can you call them bean toes, or is that only for cats? Baby bean toes. 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming around here. And let's just go boom. Just make sure we get the shape. Just a little bit of the shape, like right around. Little baby bean toes. Baby bean toes. Let's get some of these lights in here before we sign off. We're almost done for today's painting session. I'm not going to be able to maintain my mental acuity for another hour. Admittedly. Look forward to next time. Thanks, Justina. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Omizu, as always. Thank you, everybody watching from Amazon. Thank you to my agent. I want to thank everybody for this award. All the people that created YouTube and Amazon for streaming. I want to thank my mom and dad for having me and moving to America when they did. And I want to thank, because I feel like if I was in another country, like obviously if I lived in China, I don't think I would be able to stream because YouTube's like banned in China, I think. I don't think I would have the same opportunity to stream if I was in China.
Riding a scooter, working in a factory.
I probably might be driving a scooter. I mean, you never even know. My life might even be. Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm saying this with a grain of salt because I've been in China, and they're a very modern country.
Is this tea?
Yeah, it's iced tea. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe my life might even be better. Who knows? Maybe I would have done very well in school, got the top ratings in Chinese school, and like moved up in the world there. I don't know. You never know. Like your world can be totally different. So I don't want to totally say that. I don't want to make it seem like my life is only better because I moved from China. I mean, it could be. There are countries that if you move from them, you're obviously 100% better off, right? But I feel like China is one of those countries that, they actually have a good life. They have a good way of life. They don't have all the freedoms of Americans, but, so long as, I think people in China live a pretty decent life. I love my freedoms in America, but, I wouldn't criticize, life in China. I have family there. They're doing pretty good. So now I'm talking a little too much, getting a little too in the weeds here, in depth about cultural considerations. So that means it is pretty much time to sign off. So before I start mumbling about whatever, let's clean up now. So here we go. We have this exciting painting done. Still some more to do. A lot more to do. But as we wrap up for today, let's say, hey everybody, be great, be awesome, be who you are. Yeah, well, Omizu, that's the only way to survive in China is if you move, if you totally and fully ingrain yourself in their ideology. And honestly, that's kind of, in the spirit of America too, right? Like, of course, in America, you can choose like not to align with certain things. But at the end of the day, there is a game to be played here. There is a game to be played in America. It's just different. So, I don't want to criticize anything too much. I don't want to criticize anything. I'm not criticizing anything. Just don't try to get me to say something I regret later. Alright, well anyway. Let's wrap it up, baby. Wrapping it all up. Boom. And I still have some time to watch some TV tonight. Woo-wee. All right, let's turn off my laptop here.
Let the food out.
And everybody, thank you for being here. Take care.
hear me?
He just says don't play the game. All right. Well, hey, take care, everybody. Thank you so much.